Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features X-Men number 75. It's a giant size special. There's 40 pages of story and art inside. We have a wraparound cover featuring these new arrivals to the X-Men, Maggot, Marrow and Cecilia Reyes. She still doesn't have a code name. And then on the front cover we've got Beast, Wolverine and Storm, and they're going up against this monstrous creature here with what looks like an exoskeleton, and we have the cover caption, "Behold the Ascension of Pilgrim." Now you can see here who is the art by. It's by Carlos Pacheco, pencils, art Thibert on inks, and Liquid on the digital colors. But there's a little note there from Carlos Pacheco, see you, and that's because this in effect is his last work on the title. So he joined soon after Andy Hubert's stepping down and moving away to do the Kazar series with Mark Waid. Carlos Pacheco took over as regular penciler, but he's more or less gone within a year, and this was a surprise to me at the time. I wasn't expecting this double-sized issue to be penciled by anyone other than Pacheco, so it kind of happened a bit suddenly, and that's acknowledged in the letters page at the back of this book. But you can see here that the credits are for Joe Kelly, yes, someone with the surname Garcia, and Thibert staying on as inker. So the wraparound cover is pretty decent. Let's open this one up because there's a lot to get through in this video and I don't want it running on too long. The title of this particular story is Anatomy of a Monster. We have a big splash page image there, close up on Wolverine. At the end of the previous issue, he woke up from having been autopsied by some creature, and he's saying here, I don't have breath to waste by asking again, where is Maggot? So we were kind of led to believe that maybe Maggot's eenie and meenie, those slugs of his, might have been responsible for this. There's been some hints dropped that maybe they were killing and eating homeless people in Salem Center, but we're going to find out the truth of what's been happening in this double-sized issue. So the creator credits here, Joe Kelly words, and the artist is well, you know, one would think, or maybe probably at the time I thought it was German, Garcia, but the artist is Spanish, just like Carlos Pacheco, Spanish. So it could be the pronunciation is Germán Garcia. Art Thibert on inks, but with Panosian, Dan Panosian, Scott Hanna and John Holdridge also doing a few pages each to get the double-sized issue to the printers on time. Digital Chameleon on the colors, Richard Starkings and Comic Craft on the digital letters. So let's see who is Wolverine talking to. Turn the page there and we get a better look at Garcia's style here on these couple of pages, and I think his style is a little bit reminiscent of Chris Bachalo. I also see touches of Adam Kubert and even a little bit also of Carlos Pacheco himself with some of the angles that this new artist favors. But he has a distinctive and very developed style. Now, I've said this before on these issues of X-Men from 97 and 98. I don't have very strong or firm memories of these comics, and as I read them now in 2025, it's like reading them for the first time. I can tell you, because I went through this issue before switching on the camera to make the video review, I have zero memory of anything in this comic. I remember nothing. I don't remember the art, I don't remember the story, nothing. And that in itself tells a tale. So as I said, there's a lot to get through. You can see, even looking at these 2 pages, there's a lot of speech balloons here. Let's kick on so that I'll try and get this review done in around 40-minute mark if I can. So who's he talking to? He's talking to Cannonball, he's talking to Storm. It's nighttime, you can see the full moon out there, and Wolverine grabs his uniform and he says, "You two can fawn over my boo-boos." That's the fact that he's recovering from that autopsy on his torso right now. "You just get everyone out of their PJs and into some work gloves. We're about to get messy." So Storm calls after him, "Wolverine, We have been keeping vigil over your unconscious body for nearly 8 hours. You cannot expect us to just let you leap to your feet and stomp off without. And of course Wolverine says, right, sorry, thank you, get dressed. So Cannonball here says that was smooth. And Storm, you can see she's annoyed. You will not find Maggot anywhere on the grounds. We've looked, she says to Wolverine. He conveniently disappeared shortly after we found you on the front steps of the school. Barely conscious and mumbling about monsters and murder. Logan, talk to us. What's happening? So he pauses, he pulls on his mask and he says, if I take time to explain, it'll be too late, Ro. Just round up the troops and find Maggot, because if you don't, that boy's gonna die. But again, is it from Wolverine? Is Wolverine going to kill him? And a murderer is going to go unpunished? And here is Maggot. So he's gone down to Salem Center. He's showing Eenie and Meenie a newspaper headline, murder in a small town. And he's accusing them. I wonder sometimes, could you learn to read, you little jackals? If you could, would you be proud of what you've done to these folks? So he thinks they've done it. That's a really nice image there of them looking up at him. He says to himself, Maggot, how did everything get so donnered, which is like screwed up? We hump halfway around the world from Pretoria in South Africa to Pittsburgh, looking for help, for peace, finally stand a hang of a chance at finding it with the X-Men. And in one sitting, you two do the unthinkable. I hate you, he says, as he kicks them. And he's raging and raving in the alley, but he loses his strength. That was stupid. Nice little tantrum. What? Might as well just scot myself in the guava and the backside next time and cut out the middle, Maggot. Curse you, you little breckers. I'm not going to let you hurt anyone else. I'm going to do what I should have done as soon as you two started acting queer. I'm going to finish this once and for all. So it looks like the local constabulary has arrived. And we see that from Maggot's point of view. I like this design here, the spotting of blacks as we're looking out from the bottom of the alleyway. And here's the captain of the police. He says, lock and load, gents. We do this clean, we do this quick. The locals are shut in for the night, so there's a curfew. That means the only critters in the street are the bogeyman and us. By morning, it will only be us. Do you get my meaning? So they're locked and loaded, and then the scene switches back to the Xavier Institute under the full moon. And we've got Cecilia Reyes and Beast, and they're working. We can see all these medical books, a big stack of medical books here, coffee out as well. And Cecilia Reyes is saying to him, look, Jefe, she's from Puerto Rico, I don't claim to know jack about healing factors, muty anatomy, or your boy Wolverine. But if you would look with your eyes instead of your mouth, you might notice that the scar tissue on Logan's body is consistent with standard post-mortem exploration. Unless Eenie and Meenie are diehard Quincy fans, I don't think they have the goods to perform an autopsy, do you? So B says, no, I imagine Quincy might be a trifle over their heads. Quincy, wasn't that like a 1970s TV show about a medical examiner? I never saw it. It was before my time, but that's as much as I know about it. So it's a little reference to that TV show. So Cecilia there smiles, thank you very much, Mr. McCoy. So she's kind of like expressing to him he's not a medical doctor. Anyone live around here who would dissect a live person in the name of science? And then the scene switches somewhere bad. So it'll turn out to be another dimension. And something with a big grin on its face starts dissecting this human being who's locked down, vivisecting him. And then just outside the Xavier School grounds, we've got the flyers from the team flying through the woods, and they're looking for Wolverine. There's some tension between Cannonball and Storm because, of course, Cannonball, once upon a time, circa issues 1920 of X-Force, was the leader of the team when it was believed that Cable was dead subsequent to the events of Executioner's Song. And he has a different point of view on the treatment of Maggot at the X-Mansion, and particularly by Storm. So there's some tension between him and Storm. And it comes out here where he says, letting him call the shots, that's Wolverine, was a dumb idea. Of course, no one did ask me, now did they? So Storm picks up Cannonball, and then he gets back and says to her, "We're far enough from the mansion now, if you'll excuse me, ladies." So off he flies to up above the canopy of the trees in order to take a look from higher ground. And Rogue twigs that there's tension there. Whoa, is it just me? Or is the tension level between you and Sammy set to 11? Something happened while I was away. Storm, so that's a reference to Rogue running out of the X-Mansion in issue 354 of Uncanny. And Storm says, Cannonball and I are having a difference of opinion, Rogue, about some of the strangers living with us, specifically Marrow. He does not understand that we cannot abide reckless terrorists in our midst. And Rogue says, of course, alluding to, or referencing rather, her own criminal past, "I don't know, I was pretty reckless when you took me in, still am." "Perhaps, but you never took a life," says Storm. And Rogue takes off. That's interesting acting as well, body language from Garcia there. Good work from him. And then nearby we've Wolverine dropping down from a branch in the woods. We've got his first person narration. "Been tussling with monsters my whole life, some on the outside, though most within. But I always bounce back, always." Now remember that. Some on the outside, though most within, the beast within. And he's growling there because the wounds from the autopsy are opening up. And still he's seeping fluids all over the flaming place. Joke, sort of. Truth is, thing that did this to me shouldn't have been able to. So I don't want anyone within 100 yards of it till I sussed out the sitch. This is a thing for just us monsters. And again, that's important for what happens later. It's called the Ngarai cairn. And as far as bad mojo goes, they don't make much batter. It's a dimensional gateway to the home of a brood of ugly demons called the Ngarai. Usually the monstrosities covered in sensors and such to warn us of any kind of breach. No more. Thanks, Bastion. That's another one we owe you. So when the X-Mansion was stripped by Operation Zero Tolerance, they also took away the tech from the Ngarai cairn, and so now it's become active without anyone knowing about it. Wolverine continues. They've come through a couple of times. Once right when I joined on, and that's a reference to Uncanny X-Men 96 by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum. One Christmas when it was just Kitty in the X-Mansion. And that is a reference to the classic Uncanny X-Men 143 by Claremont and Byrne. And a few months ago, and that's to Wolverine 95, so Wolverine's annual that particular year, a few years ago, but only months ago in Marvel time. And Wolverine continues in his first person monologue, "They're pure animal, pure instinct, pure rage. If they ever did stage the invasion, they'd planned the Earth'd lose, period." So what we're seeing here is a flashback to him and Nightcrawler taking on the Ngarai in Wolverine 95. Don't know what the Ngarai are up to, why they're carving up folks, why they're interested in Maggot or how they hurt me, but they ain't going to survive long enough for me to find out. And then there's someone speaking off panel. He's popped his claws, his bone claws still. This is completely demeaning, McCoy. I changed my mind. Let him freeze out here. So who could that be? Is it Cecilia Reyes? Let's turn the page. Yes, it is. And she's out in the woods with Beast. And she's also wearing a superhero costume. And she doesn't like it. "What's with this outfit?" she exclaims. "Is this some sort of depraved initiation rite?" And Beast there says, like the acting as well in his pose and expressive face there, "You didn't have a uniform," he says. "So when I was visiting the Avengers, I borrowed it from the Wasp's closet. Of course, I didn't exactly remember what it looked like." And so Cecilia, she's always aggressive. She starts pointing her finger at Wolverine because she's a medical doctor, and are you a moron or just stupid? She's got an amazing bedside manner, doesn't she? You've got massive trauma to your body and you run off into the woods. So Wolverine says, "You finished?" And she says, "No, I see guys like you every day in the ER, bikes with no helmets, cars with no seat belts." But Beast spots something behind them, stars and garters. Logan, how long has that been there? "Hard to say," says Wolverine. "When I was jumped, the cairn was only a foot out of the ground. I was hoping to get back before." "Allow me to redefine the subject of my sentence," says Beast. Let's turn the page. how long have they been there? So we see these shadowy figures with grins on their faces emerging from the top of the cairn. Forget it, too late, says Wolverine. That's a nice shot from behind, like the rendering of the back muscles there and the back of Wolverine's mask as well. I think that's very well done. Then the scene switches to Salem Center. We've got a couple of cops there. They're out there with their coffees and they're on the lookout for the murderer. And Maggot comes up behind them to confess. Boys, prepare your cuffs. I'm the killer, I'm turning myself in. And then there's a flash of gold and green, and the lads turn around with their earmuffs. They didn't 100% hear what was heard, and it's Rogue. She's grabbed Maggot, and Storm has a message for Maggot. I have a message for you, Maggot, from Wolverine. And so Wolverine basically told, the message was that that Maggot wasn't responsible for what happened, that it wasn't Eenie and Meenie. If you were so worried, why didn't you say anything? Asks Rogue. I like the way that she's leaning up there against I don't know what this is, like a wall or barrier or something. And he says, sure, that would have been fixed up. Hey mates, I know you don't trust me from Adam, but by the way, I think Eenie and Meenie ate some people in town. Anyone for biscuits? I just assumed you had control over those things, a mind link or something, says Cannonball. Not all powers are controllable, Sammy, says Rogue, and of course she's the one who knows that best of all. So there's some arguments here, and Storm says that the X-Men are a family, and it's past time we began to act like it. You're not responsible for these deaths, for any of this. Return to the school with us, and if you ask, we will see about helping restore your control. So Eenie and Meenie run off, and Maggot goes after them. Cannonball starts blasting in order to grab Maggot again. This is a nice image of them. They're very well drawn there. Like the look on Rogue's face as well. It's good stuff. There's been a slight little redesign of her costume as well from the way that Jim Lee designed it. So Cannonball is about to grab Maggot. Rogue and Storm are going after him too. And they disappear, or Eenie and Meenie eat into the asphalt, and then something happens. There's crackles of energy there. Storm, what's happening? And they crash to the ground. I like the little Dutch angle here, the tilt. And when Cannonball comes to, he says he thinks Maggot has pulled a fast one on them. I knew you were rotten. But then there's this hand, this gloved hand, and there's blood dropping from it. And then we don't get to see what he's looking at, because the scene switches back to the Xavier estate. When the creatures materialize, they do so with no sound, no displacement of air, and Wolverine notices nary even a scent until one beats out a low guttural chuckle on breath teeming with the foulness of all things dead. So these do not look like the Ngarai. These look different, and they've got kind of markings on them, and jewelry, and braided hair, dreadlocks, and that's very different from the Ngari. But Wolverine's determined. It's all right, kiddies, it's time to make the corpses. And Beast stops him and he says, wait, Logan, just wait. Can you feel it? Their eyes, these creatures, they're studying, scrutinizing us. They are not the savages I've read about in your reports. They're not Ngarai. So, of course, Beast never came across any of them himself, because he was with the Avengers at the time. And then Cecilia is having a traumatic moment looking at these monsters. She's never seen anything like this before. She just doesn't have the experience of either Logan or Beast. Let's continue on. So she starts running in fear. So that's the interesting thing about Cecilia. You know, she's got that kind of brusque front to her, but she just does not have the experience that the other X-Men do, and it's very much credible that she'd run in fear like that. So of course Beast is concerned about her. These creatures attack Wolverine, and he realizes, Beast, something in them claws, sorcery that retards my healing factor. So Beast infers, if these creatures can counter your mutant power, then Cecilia, So of course her mutant power is a force field, a protective force field. So Logan says, now get the doc somewhere safe and don't come back until you got the others. So Beast bounds off and Logan readies himself for combat. So we're just going to stand around here and make kissy faces. Are we going to get serious? And then we pick up with Cecilia running through the woods. She trips on the ground. Here's one of these creatures like a crocodile. It roars in her face, blowing back her hair. See, there's something about this is very reminiscent of Chris Bachalo to me. And I wonder, did Garcia study the current ex-artists in order to give a flavour of that to his first work on the X-Books? Then we see that Cecilia is rescued by Marrow, who stabs the crocodile beast. And she says, boo, did I get you? Good. Teach you to run, looking ahead, not at your unsteady upwhirl feet. It's called an ambush. He was going to cut around and chomp your pretty skin healer. Lucky for you, I got here first. So Cecilia is delighted for the rescue, and there's been lots of tension between these two. And she breaks out into Spanish about the demons and blood. And then Marrow slaps her in the face. You slapped me. You needed it. I might need it again. Look, so the beast is here riding one of these things. Sit, Marmaduke, sit. Can't forbear from making a few jokes. And the thing is like snapping at him, even as he's trying to ride on its back. And Marrow throws one of her bones and catches the beast, probably in the brain. You killed it with one strike. And Marrow's kind of impressed with herself. You were expecting me to hit it with a rolled up newspaper. So Beast replies, no, I suppose I wasn't, though perhaps I'm more bewildered by your return than your technique, Marrow. So let's continue. So she pulls back her bone dagger, and then they're surrounded once again by these creatures. They leap at them. Looks like they're going to have to make a last stand here. Let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, there's a scene switch. So what about Rogue, Storm and Cannonball? Where are they? Well, they're in the Ukraine. For a moment, no one speaks. Their bodies adjusting to instantaneous spatial displacement, while their minds attempt to process the unspeakable loss of human life. So are all these Ukrainians strung up around them, and they've been autopsied too. And Cannonball is deeply upset by what he's seeing. And then Rogue says, I'm no expert in these things, but you think that doohickey might hold some answers as to what happened here? So there's a cairn, and there's energies coming from the top of it. So Storm recognizes it, the Ngari cairn here. And Rogue says, however it's pronounced, Ngari. But I thought they lived in our backyard. They must have moved. That's Sam says that. They must have moved, Sammy says. Rogue. No, Rogue, they expanded. So Storm is putting it together. The monsters must have found weak points between our two dimensions other than the one on the estate grounds, which begs the question, how many doors to our world have they already forged, and how many demons walk among us? Okay, so this is Joe Kelly's kind of contribution. It's not just retreading the Ngarai story trope, but it's been complicated by the fact that the cairns are now popping up all around the world. So there's potentially an invasion happening. And Storm says to Sam, the Ngarai are tethered to their universe by the cairn. In the past, the seeming destruction of the cairn severs the lifeline of the demons and they cease to exist, but it always comes back. The best we can hope to do for now is destroy this abomination immediately. Then we bury the dead, return to Salem Center, and do the same there, and hope that this time we obliterate them all. But Storm stops her, Rogue stops her, grabs her by the wrist, and she says, Storm, wait, before we go on obliterating, ain't we forgetting someone? Where's Maggot? So they can't obliterate the cairn without finding Maggot, so they're going to jump through the dimensional portal of the cairn like heroes in order to rescue Maggot. Somewhere between dimensions, there he is. And he's weak because he's separated from Eenie and Meanie, though we don't know exactly what the nature of his mutant power is, or his relationship to them. And here we see these creatures again, and he thinks it's the end for him. Come on, he dares them, and then their blood splatters all over his face, and it's Wolverine. So a big anchor image of Wolverine. We can see the autopsy scar there. He's wearing the creature's jewelry as well. He's taken trophies from them, and he's also got some face paint on as well. So he's gone native. And he says, "Are we having fun yet?" Meanwhile, back in the woods in Salem, or the X-Mansion grounds, Beast is coming to, and somebody's laughing. Let's turn the page. Oh wait, they're no longer on the grounds of the X-Mansion. So they have been taken captive by the creatures. And here we see this machine with these green energies emerging from it. And there's one of these live autopsies going on again. See this nose? See the nose there? This head three-quarter profile really reminds me of Bacalo's style. So Beast is figuring out what's going on. It appears that not only have the N'Garai been busy, they've also evolved. And Marrow's tied up right beside him. She's laughing there. "You're awake, lovely." And he asks her, "What are you cackling about?" She says, "Two things, furry. One, Morlocks are collectors of irony, and this situation is very ironic. I ran away from the mansion to avoid the wrath of the bad monster Wolverine." See that theme? "I finally return to face the Thing, only to be overcome by worse monsters, trapped with a Beast." So Beast says, "True, but at least you came back, Marrow. Come what may, that's saying a lot." "Only if we survive," she says. And then he says, "What else were you laughing about? I could use a stretch of the old zygomaticus major." So that's one of the smile muscles. And she says, "Down there, the healer. They're trying to kill her." So who's on the slab for a vivisection? It is Cecilia Reyes, but of course her mutant power is the force field that protects her. They can't break it. They can't. So she's trying to calm down, breathe, she says to herself, concentrate, even if you do feel the blade sharper than any scalpel, picking, probing, slicing through. Because the force field protects her, but she can feel the pain of whatever has hit her. So it's kind of one of those mutant powers with what would you say, like a negative dimension to it too. And then she exclaims, "No, I'm tired of being afraid. I will not give you the satisfaction. You hear me, monstruo, monster in Spanish. I deny you, N'Garai." And that gets the Thing's attention. It stops. Let's turn the page. Why has its attention been gotten? That worked. She's thinking to herself, "It's shutting down. Does that mean I beat them?" So she gets all confident there. This is good, expressive drawings by Garcia. Bad. And then the Thing speaks. "Human, why does it dare call us N'Garai? Tell me, tell Pilgrim." So this is our guy from the cover. And what's this eye that he's wearing around his neck? And Cecilia is worried again. She's in fear. "Help," she says quietly. And then we pick up with Wolverine and Maggot, and he's helping Maggot. He's cutting through this wall, and Maggot is talking about Eenie and Meanie, saying leave them behind. And Wolverine says, "We all got our crosses to bear. Sometimes life stinks like that. All you can do is kick it in the butt and hope to get by. Like you, man who gets things done with or without help. You always have it under control, don't you?" Wolverine pauses because, of course, famously, he sometimes loses control, lets the Beast out. "You talk too much, kid, come on." So Maggot says, "Hey, Wolverine, while we're romping around down here, you think any more if those mongrels made it to the surface?" "Doubt it," says Wolverine. "I took care of a lot of them on the way down, so we did a lot of killing." Back in Salem Center, the two cops are there with their donuts, and they see the monsters up, chewing on their car. Elsewhere, we've got Cecilia, and she says to it asks, "What does it know of N'Garai?" And And she is thinking to herself, because she sees Eenie and Meenie on its shoulders. On its shoulders, maggots, slugs. How? Aren't you Engarai? And the thing goes ballistic. Profanity, it exclaims. It will never say that again. Beast here is enraged and worried. And Marrow is thinking to herself, well, does the beast fall for a beauty? And of course, that's ironic because she also has a thing for a beauty, for the handsome angel, Warren Worthington III. I just want to go to sleep, thinks Cecilia. Dream of waking up in my bed in my rat hole of an apartment in my toasties, but I can't. So she says, okay, Pilgrim, so you're not the N-word? What are you then? And so we're going to get the antagonist's explanation of what's going on. Eyes wide, human, you must learn, know the truth. This place did belong to Engarai once until my people, the Rutai, ascended, evolved, overcame. The filth-ridden Engarai Empire was built on the backs of the Rutai. The human would call Rutai a slave caste. So here they are working for the Engarai, and the Engarai's leader, who is Kirok. But Pilgrim continues and says, though the Engarai were stronger in many ways, they did not have the vision, the understanding of life. But Rutai knew that energy of the universe was channeled through us, knew that Rutai were a part of the universal dance and would one day ascend. While Engarai made place for power in human world, Rutai defined power through secret practice, secret prayer. Our day came, prayers were answered by the grace of Maiketh, the undying one. Rutai rebelled and secured a rightful place as scions to the universal design. Kirok, that's him there, that's his head there, was deposed. As his energy returned to the universe, his secret knowledge became that of Rutai. The world was finally ours. Kirok had discovered a new dimension, humans, world, fresh with life, energy, mystery. Pilgrim, that's him there, was chosen to serve Rutai as explorer, beholder. As boon, Pilgrim won individuality, right to a name, an I. Hence I've come here with attendants, mongrels, as blue-furred human has called them. That is these guys. And have been studying your kind, starting from the physical, the meat. It has been very enlightening. So he's the one who's been doing all the autopsies. But there is still much work to be done, he says. Now it never speaks again of Engarai. Now it understands Rutai, yes. So Cecilia makes a big speech how each one of us is unique and important. Pilgrim says there is nothing unique about any of you. I've studied many humans and there's little difference between them. I study humans for enlightenment. When there is no more to learn, it dies. This is natural, part of the dance. And then he's attacked by Storm. She sends a lightning blast at him. And he turns and says dryly, welcome cavalry. And uses the eye that he got from Kirok to blast them. The eldritch power of the eye engulfs the X-Men with a force that drowns out their cries and quickly extinguishes their bravado. So Cecilia rushes to the rescue. Storm, come on sister, don't fade on us now, we need you. And then Wolverine shows up, and Maggot too. And Pilgrim here says, the mongrels had told me that there was a human who resembled him, but I could not believe it until now. Maggot sees Eenie and Meenie there as well. They're looking at him, but we don't know, again, 100% their relationship. And Pilgrim unexpectedly bows down before Wolverine. Great one. Please forgive zeal of your humble Pilgrim. My enthusiasm has made me forget customs, your will. So Wolverine says, I got no idea what you're playing at, Demon, but I do know this. It's going to stop now. Call off your dogs, let everyone go. And Pilgrim says, what, I've offended you? I would sooner hand over Eye of Kirok than abandon my sovereign mission to unlock the world's secrets. I know this is a test, as you were tested. I have not forgotten where my energy was born. I'm one with my history. So Storm is waking up there, or rather maybe the eye is keeping her down. And then Pilgrim uses the eye. There's a rumbling. Oh, and he creates this sculpture of Wolverine. So Wolverine's in awe, and Pilgrim explains, the one who showed Rutai the light, the Ngare had to be overcome for the world to change. You gave us the spark. You came, assaulted the Ngarai, killed and killed again without dying yourself. And in your wake, Rutai followed, overcame. All we've done is because of you. So Wolverine there is taken aback. Lord help me, I think it is, darling. When I came here, I was in a bad way. My control over the beast within me was waning, and I was all too happy to let go. I hacked and slashed my way into the belly of the beast, doing what I do best, and now I see what came of it. So many dead, because I let myself be more monster than man. So Wolverine is taking the blame, or blaming himself for all of this, for everything that's happened. And Maggot tries to comfort him, says, are you alright? But Storm here is angry. She's winding up to blast Pilgrim and the mongrels. Now X-Men strikes. That's a very nice double page spread there. Great action. So Rogue hits Pilgrim high. Cannonball hits him low. Wolverine's out of it. He's feeling guilty. Maggot says, we all have a cross to bear. Remember, he uses Wolverine's own words back to him. Is yours too heavy, is it? So what's going to happen? Maggot doesn't have enough power to attack. Find some, says Marrow. So are the new recruits going to save the day? Let's turn the page. Maggot finds some power within himself. He says, okay girl, this is all the oiks got left. Don't let me do this for nothing. Sherry, please. What do I do? So they're going to do a variation on the fastball special here. And Marrow's sent towards Pilgrim with a bone dagger in her teeth. And she cuts the eye, Kirok's eye here, his mystical medallion, off Pilgrim's chain. So it's there falling on the ground. This is really well done. Great storytelling by Garcia. And Pilgrim is there reaching out for it. Wolverine's got his mojo back. He calls out, Pilgrim, I'm not finished. And there's one of these mongrels, Rutai, about to kill Cecilia. She says, let's see, turn the page. She runs at just the right moment so she's not struck by the thing. She's going after the eye. You know, she's found some courage. I'm going to miss it, eye. No, for the love of God, please don't let me blow this. And then she breaks the eye with her backside. So that's kind of comical. Wolverine here says, when maybe it's Pilgrim here roaring, what has it done? Was it a done? I wouldn't call her it, bub. And she just kicked your tail into oblivion. So Marrow, Maggot, and Cecilia have saved the day. And then these bonds are undone. And Beast's recommendation is to find the nearest portal to Earth and boogie on out post haste. So Storm says, X-Men, grab the civilians, we must move now. So that's what they do. Pilgrim here is striking out at Wolverine. It took aeons to build this. Rutai must have the cynosure intact. Everybody's doing a runner. That's some nice drawing there of Rogue carrying a civilian. Bit of banter there between Beast and Marrow. Cecilia pulls up Maggot. He wants to be left behind. He can't leave without Eenie and Meanie, but they come to him. And so they leave. And here Pilgrim is calling out, Rutai, I've been undone. Please do not let your son return to the universe unavenged. Give me your grace. Give me one more chance. So will he get that? So look here, a Kern had manifested in Las Vegas. And the X-Men emerge from it. And all the cairns around the world are exploded. Humanity is saved. But all the power goes out. And this guy comes out of the casino hotel. I swear if you destroyed hotel property, there's going to be heck to pay. Cannonball's glad to be back. Everybody's safe and well. Let's turn the... and there's an interesting little bit of dialogue there from Maggot to one of the slugs. That's a good girl, he says. Just one of you, just enough for now. So what is that about? What's going on there? We can't see, but we'll find out things in the next issue. So the guy's asking for some ID, and Marrow points one of her bone daggers right under his chin. We're the X-Men, she says. We just saved your sad excuse for a world. You have a problem with this? So Wolverine there with a big smile on his face says the delivery needs some, or rather B says the delivery needs some work, but our heart's in the right place. Well said, kid. Well said. So here we go. They're kind of like a family now. They've worked well together as a team. So maybe they're the newest version of the X-Men, a blend of the old and the new. Back in Salem Center, the Mongrel has been loaded into the back of a wagon, but it's black air, and we saw them before. So they're operating around the margins of what's going on in the X-Books, and they're gathering up interesting specimens. And so the two guys there are wondering about the whole situation. Who cares, says one of them. Stupid spook organization, some fed bunker somewhere to rot, as long as we never have to see it again. Later, after a hasty departure by our valorous mutants. So there's a Ukrainian guy being taken away by the Las Vegas police. They're telling him with his blanket over his shoulders, you'll be fine. And he speaks oddly. It should not worry about me. I'm in good spirits. Is that because he is translating from Russian? Any idea what happened here? Why you all just appeared in the middle of Vegas? Asked the policeman. I am here to learn, to study. You're a student then? No, a pilgrim. So it looks like Pilgrim's prayer was answered, and he's going to continue in the world, maybe as a serial killer. Next issue, learn the terrible, tragic truth about Maggot. So finally, we're going to learn exactly what the story is with Maggot and his slugs, and maybe what exactly his mutant power is. So, last page is the letters page, and we get a note here from the editors. We would like to send out a special thank you to penciler Germán Garcia for coming on board to help us out on short notice. So that's interesting for this double-sized special 75th issue of X-Men. Germán is a newcomer to Marvel, and we think you'll agree that his take on the X-Men is pretty fantastic. We intend on keeping him very busy, and he'll be returning to assist us again on upcoming X-Men issues 77 and 78. So keep an eye on this rising star, because you haven't seen the last of him by a long shot. So that's interesting. But what about Carlos Pacheco? So there's somebody here praising Pacheco's work. Carlos and maybe it's supposed to be Joe Kelly has certainly given X-Men his all, and it shows. Rob, to the letter writer, check out our special message that follows for more on his exciting future plans. So that seems to be about Carlos Pacheco, maybe, but where is the special message about future plans? It's not here on this page, so something's off on this page. But anyway, Germán Garcia coming on board at short notice in order to pencil this 40 pages of story and art. Carlos Pacheco supplying only the wraparound cover, and then working with Kurt Busiek on Avengers Forever, that 12-issue limited series. But yeah, I think the story itself here, not really big enough for a giant-size special. I think the story would have been better told across 2 issues, if not actually just 1 issue. It just kind of, it seems to me it's the reason why I don't remember this thing at all. It's middle of the road X-Men story, and by the end of it, you know, whatever happened within it, there's no major changes really. There's just the implication now that maybe these newcomers can work with the older members of the X-Men, and maybe they've pushed beyond the suspicion towards them. And of course, there's the promise of learning hopefully the full story about Maggot in the next issue. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary of the giant size special X-Men number 75. Let me know your thoughts on this. In the comments section, if you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.